Most people don't get manipulated because they're stupid. They get manipulated because they're nice. Yeah, read that again. You're not getting played because you're weak. You're getting played because you keep giving the benefit of the doubt to people who don't fucking deserve it. You're explaining yourself to people who already decided to misunderstand you. You're trying to prove your worth to someone who only values what they can control. Here's the truth: that person who keeps twisting your words, making you question your memory, blaming you for every damn thing that goes wrong, they don't love you. They love what they can get from you. And the scariest part, they don't even respect you because deep down, they think if you had any self-worth, you would have walked away by now. And the craziest part, what they actually think about you will make your stomach drop. It's not love. It's not admiration. It's not even respect. It's utility. You are a tool to them, a mirror that reflects how great they think they are. And when that mirror stops flattering them, they smash it. I know this sounds intense, but stick with me, because by the end of this, I'm going to tell you exactly how to reclaim your power. You won't just spot narcissists, you'll disarm them without even raising your voice. But first, you got to understand the real mind of a covert narcissist. And here's the trap: they don't always yell. They don't need to. They manipulate. They turn your emotions into weapons and say things like, "You're too sensitive," or "You're imagining things." Sound familiar? This is emotional abuse in disguise. And people live in it for years, thinking it's love, thinking it's normal. Now here's the part no one tells you: you don't need to be in a romantic relationship for an narcissist to mess with your head. It could be a friend, a parent, a boss, someone you thought had your back. It doesn't matter if you read Jordan Peterson or every motivational speech on YouTube. If you don't learn how to see through the mask, you'll keep wondering why your mental health is slipping, why your dreams feel heavy, why your confidence feels like it's leaking from the inside out. And here's what hits hardest: narcissists secretly think you're weak if you stay quiet. They respect boundaries, but only after you enforce them, like your life depends on it. And sometimes it does. I'll show you how to do that. But before we go there, I need you to answer something. When was the last time you said no and actually meant it? Because if that question stings a little, that's not guilt. That's your power trying to come back online. The first time I realized I was dealing with a narcissist, I didn't want to believe it. I kept making excuses for their behavior. They're just stressed. They didn't mean it like that. Maybe it's me. That's what emotional abuse does. It makes you the villain in your own story. And narcissists, they're masters at it. Covert ones especially. They don't come at you with fists. They come at you with smiles, compliments. They know exactly what to say to get you hooked. You're different, and no one gets me like you. I can really be myself around you. But over time, it shifts. Slowly, they start testing your boundaries. They make little comments that chip away at you. You always overreact. You're so dramatic. You're lucky I'm even putting up with this. That's not love. That's control. And the real kicker? They already know what they're doing. They know the moment they're crossing the line, but they're watching to see if you notice. Because if you let it slide, once they'll push further next time. Let me tell you something real. Narcissists secretly believe that if you don't stand up for yourself, you deserve to be controlled. That's their inner logic. Twisted, right? But that's how they justify what they do. And I know it's tempting to think you can fix them. That if you just love them harder, give them more grace, they'll change. But hear me on this. You were never supposed to be someone's rehab center. You were supposed to grow, to dream, to move in the direction of your calling, not shrink yourself so someone else could feel bigger. Look, I've been in rooms where the loudest voice was the most insecure. The person who needed the most validation was the one tearing everybody else down just to feel tall. That's narcissism, and it's raised for my need to feel important, even if it means you have to feel invisible. And the longer you stay quiet, the louder their ego gets. But you got a choice. You can keep dancing around their approval. You can stop the music. Stopping the music doesn't mean drama. It doesn't mean confrontation. Sometimes it's just silence. Clarity. A simple, that's not okay. Or I don't accept that. Or even just walking away when you realize the conversation's a trap. Reclaiming your power doesn't mean you have to fight harder. It means you stop giving away your peace. So ask yourself, what would your life look like if you stopped explaining your worth to people committed to misunderstanding you? That question will set you free. You know what I realized one day? People don't just wake up and find themselves trapped. They walk into cages. Slowly, one compromised boundary at a time. And narcissists, they count on that. They don't need to chain you up. They just teach you to doubt your own key. See, when someone keeps gaslighting you, it's not just about the lie they're telling. It's about making you question whether your truth is even real. You ever feel like you're losing your mind trying to explain something that definitely happened, but they say it didn't? That's not miscommunication. That's psychological warfare. It's talk real. That's how people start shrinking. Not all at once, but piece by piece. You stop sharing your opinions. You stop setting goals. You stop laughing as loud. And one day you wake up and ask, where did I go? That question hit me hard once. And I'll never forget the moment I saw someone I respected, a man who had everything going for him, crumble because of one toxic person who knew exactly how to keep him small. I'm talking about someone brilliant, driven, kind, and completely wrecked emotionally because he couldn't see that he was being manipulated. He thought he was broken. He thought he just wasn't enough. But the truth was, he was too bright for that narcissist to tolerate. So they dimmed him on purpose. Now hear me, you're not too much. You're just too much for the wrong people. And once you get that, once that switch flips, you start moving different. That's when they panic, because narcissists lose their grip the moment you find your center. They'll accuse you of being selfish, cold, fake. But that's just projection. They want you to feel guilty for finally choosing yourself. Let me ask you something. When did sacrificing your mental health become your definition of love? Love doesn't erase you. It doesn't confuse you. It doesn't require that you suffer just to stay close. And let's be real, narcissists secretly resent you for every inch of freedom you find. Every boundary you enforce is a reminder that their manipulation isn't working anymore. And that's the key. You don't have to fix them. You just have to free yourself, because you can't heal in the same environment that made you sick. Let me tell you something people don't talk about enough. Narcissists don't break your heart first. They break your identity. They don't come for your joy, not at first. They come for your clarity, your voice, their sense of who you are. And they do it in ways so subtle, so calculated, you don't even notice it happening until you're stuck in guessing your own reflection. Let me put it this way, if someone can make you feel crazy while they're lying, that's not intelligence. That's manipulation. And this is where the real damage happens. Because once your identity is cracked, you start clinging to them for direction, for answers. But hear me now, anyone who needs you to feel small in order to feel big is not a leader. They're an emotional parasite. You ever seen someone shine in public but break down in private? I'm thinking of someone I met years ago, talented, respected, admired by everyone around them. But behind closed doors, they were with someone who twisted every win into a threat. You think you're better than me now? That's not a big deal. Anyone could have done that. You wouldn't be here without me. That's not love. That's fear dressed up as partnership. And narcissists, deep down, they're scared. Scared of your growth. scared of your healing, scared that if you ever truly saw yourself clearly, they lose all control. Because they know once you wake up to your value, you stop begging for scraps. So let's flip the script. You're not here to convince anyone to love you. You're not here to shrink so someone else can shine. You're not here to carry emotional weight that was never yours to hold. You're here to evolve, to get stronger, to remember who you are. You ever notice how when you finally say, "I've had enough," that's when they come running back. Suddenly, they're sweet again, apologizing, making promises. But that's not remorse, that's panic, because the supply is leaving and the mask is cracking. That's your cue. That's when you stop explaining, stop engaging, stop believing that you need their validation to feel complete. Validation isn't something you chase. It's something you own. You were never too sensitive. You were just surrounded by people to numb to feel. Here's the truth I need you to carry with you. You don't owe anyone access to you just because they had it before. Read that again, because narcissists believe that once they've gotten in, they own a piece of you. Your time, your silence. But here's the twist: you can revoke that access anytime, without apology. Freedom doesn't always feel loud. Sometimes it feels like blocking a number and sleeping better. Sometimes it's sitting in your own peace and realizing you don't miss them, you miss the version of you who still believed they could change. And that version of you, they were hopeful, strong, but now you're awake. Now you know what covert narcissism really looks like. You've seen how gaslighting works. You felt how emotional abuse wears you down. You've watched yourself shrink in the presence of someone who should have celebrated you. But now it's different, because once you reclaim your power, you stop living in reaction mode. You stop giving people the right to narrate your story. You stop waiting for the apology, and you give yourself the closure. Closure isn't a conversation, it's a decision. It's when you say, "I'm not doing this to be dramatic. I'm doing this to survive. I'm not angry. I'm done. I'm not cold. I'm healing." So, what do narcissists secretly think about you? Here's a secret: they know you're powerful. They know you're intuitive. They know you're a threat to their control the second you start waking up. That's why they tried to bury you in confusion. That's why they made you doubt your own voice. That's why they kept shifting the goalposts so you'd never feel stable enough to walk away. But you're walking now, and they can't stop that. So don't look back. Don't keep explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. Don't dim your light just because someone else's ego gets sunburned by your glow. You are not here to be liked by everyone. You are here to live aligned. And if that means losing people who were never really for you, that's not loss. That's liberation. Subscribe and like for more content. We are Wisdom Recorder.